everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is Melinda. I'm also known as YarnderWoman on Ravelry and Instagram. And today is Saturday, the 14th of March 2015, and I am coming to you as always from Perth in Western Australia. I hope you've all had a great couple of weeks since we last caught up. I have had crazy busy weeks at work, especially this week. As I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I'm very fortunate to be in an acting manager role at the moment at my work, and it's been one of those weeks where anything that could happen has happened, situations you could never plan for have happened, and as a result I've actually had to bring work home this weekend, which I am not big on because, you know, work-life balance is very important. I'm sure in some professions you have to bring home work all the time. But I don't usually, and I don't think I would usually for this role either. It's just one of those things where time-sensitive things didn't get done because other things that were reactive had to get done first. And yeah, so to say I've had a busy week is an understatement. So I haven't had as much time for knitting as I would like, which is also very sad because I tend to rate whether a day is, effective or a success if I've gotten a certain amount of knitting done. So if I go by that, then it hasn't been a successful week, but it has in many other ways. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about my job. I'm very grateful to have a job at all, especially in this climate, for economic reasons. But I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to be the acting manager. I'm just acknowledging it is very busy and very tiring. I think it was Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, I woke up about 2:30, not worried about anything, but just with like a mental list going through my head. I was like, okay, we did that and that and that. And then by 3, I was so wide awake, I just got up and started doing some knitting, had about 3 coffees, and then got ready at my normal work time. And then, as fate would have it, that was one of the days where I ended up being at work from 7:20, which is when I usually get there. And I'd usually leave about 4:30, but that day I didn't leave till 6 o'clock, so it was 10.5-hour day at work, plus then the hour and 20-minute commute on either side. So yeah, I was a little wiped by the end of the day, but actually, ironically, I felt more tired on other days, so I think I was getting a lot of adrenaline. But anyway, that's a lot of talking about my work week. Let's get on with some knitting, and we'll start with broaching the subject. So today's brooch is here, and I can actually show you a picture in a moment. This is from the Etsy seller Miss Ella. She's out of the UK, and there's a gorgeous picture in the back. She does all her own illustrations, and with like a little thank you message, as a lot of Etsy sellers do, which is awesome. But she wrote hers in a card, which is the same picture as the brooch. This gorgeous little kitty knitting on some pink yarn, so love, so cute. And this is sort of acquisitions that I'll show you now because we're broaching. This is the other one I got from her, and it's a little fox, and in her description on the Etsy listing she was saying that she went to Kyoto in Japan, and there's a shrine there called Fushimi Inari Taisha, which is Fushimi Inari is the main name, but it's got these wonderful tunnels made out of the torii gates, which is the orange and black sort of T-shaped things. I'll put a picture in at the end of this segment. And foxes are sort of a symbol and a lot of Shinto shrines, and this just really took me because I love foxes, I love Japan, I love that particular place in Kyoto, and it was just so cute, so how could I resist? And very kindly, Miss Ella has said that we can run a giveaway with her store in a future time, and we can have a winner's choice of something she has in stock. So stay tuned for that in a future episode. And here's a picture of the gorgeous shrine with all the foxes. I actually have a finished object, despite not having a lot of knitting time, but it's something I started a while ago. not too long ago though, but I think it was the day after I recorded last time. Damien was doing a stall at a comic and toy fair as part of his illustration business. So I went along to help him do the load in and then ended up staying most of the time, and I took some knitting with me to just do while I was manning the stall and whatnot. And it was the Knit Night shawl that I've been making for my cousin, and I believe the pattern is by Louise Zaspingham, beg your pardon. So just see if there's a photo somewhere. Excuse the noise. So that's it there. And you can do lots of variations with beading or picots and whatnot. And I chose the full picot non-beaded version. And this is it, and I love it. It's so beautiful. This is using Jinx yarn, single merino. And the colourway is Axel, which is, I believe, a character from the Kingdom Hearts game, which I'm not really familiar with. It's red and black, that's why I bought it. And I love it, love it, love it. So once it blocked out, it got a really nice length. So I'll just slowly, don't you just love how those colours have gone? Just the beautiful variegation making these streaks. I love it. And Megan, I hope you will love it too, I'm sure you will. If you don't give it back, because I really don't want to give it away. Not that I don't want to give it to you, Megan, I just want to keep one. But luckily, luckily I have another skein of this very same yarn. And I think when I bought it last year, I bought them separately, so they're from the same dye lot, not that it matters because they're going to be two different projects. But I bought one, it arrived, and I loved it so much I had to go and buy another one. And yes, clearly this is why I need to make myself one in this pattern. So as you can see, I've got the picots on both ends, and I nearly used the whole ball or skein. That's how much I've got left. It's one of the ones where you have to leave a certain percentage at the end to do your finishing. Or not finishing, but the final part. And so I was weighing as I went, but then I remembered that I had already taken a little bit off the top of the ball to put into my Cozy Memories blanket. So then I was worrying that, what I thought was the original weight wasn't. I knew it would only be a few grams, but I didn't want to risk it. So I've got that much left, which I can, again, put more in my Cozy Memories blanket. And this will be travelling to Japan with Megan. So I can't go to Japan, I can't have this shawl, but Megan, I'm very glad you can and you will, so enjoy. And that is my only finished object, so now let's have a look at works in progress. Okay, I have been doing a little bit of work on the Dinosaur for my nephew, so that's the Brachiosaurus pattern. This is in here. Now Brachiosaurus, I think usually have their head going straight up, so this one is clearly grazing or having a drink, but that's okay. So this is the one I didn't want to show you when I just done the neck and head. So now I've done the neck and head, the body and the tail, and I have to do the legs. So I hope he's looking respectable. So this is the face. I think you can put eyes and nose on, but you don't have to, but I'll see how it looks at the end. And then we've got the tail coming out here. So this is knit all in one piece. And then you make the legs to attach. So I've only done the one leg so far. I'm a bit concerned that they're not going to be strong enough to support him, but yeah, if he has to lie down all the time, that's okay. Dinosaurs get tired too. But I'm really, really happy with how it's come out, and it's wonderful that it's knit all in one piece by the legs because it's so easy. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, so I really recommend it if you have need of a knitted dinosaur. I am knitting this in the Sidebox Craft Room. Now it's the bested base on this label, but I believe, or I know that the base name has changed, but it's the worsted base anyway, so it'll be very clear to find. And the colourway is Mai Tai. And I've got quite a bit left. The skein is going well. I'm not sure how much it will use total. The pattern just refers to like a 200 yard skein. So I guess we'll have lots of leftovers at the end and then we'll decide. So my nephew's birthday is in a week, but the party isn't for another a couple of weeks after that because of just other commitments. So I do have some time, but I would like to get this done and dusted so that I know it's ready to go. It's living in my bird leg bags, the potions bag, but I like to call it my Macbeth bag because it reminds me of what the witches would have in Macbeth. And it's very cool, very good size for this sort of project because the whole Dinosaur fits in with just a slight bend. And that's the first one. Before I go on to the second work in progress, I'll just show you what I'm wearing here because I've got to take it off. I'm really hot. I was trying to, colour coordinate, but it's very, very warm. But this is something you have seen before. It's my Dragonfly Shawlette knit in, I've just gone blank on the company name, Blue Moon Fibre Art Socks That Rock in the Kiss colourway. And this was part of a buddy knit along that Jana Nav and I did, where she chose the pattern and she chose the yarn, and then I reversed it for the next project. So it's lovely, but I'm taking that off because it's very warm. Even though it's autumn here, there's a cyclone further up the north of the state, so I hope everyone who's up there is okay. But because the cyclone is doing its thing, the weather down for us, we've had a lot of rain and high heat and humidity. It's been pretty disgusting. It's kind of normal for this time of year, but we are in autumn, so it would be nice for the horrible hot summer weather to go away and get into the nice autumn weather. But anyway, enough of that. Next work in progress. I have half a finished face washer. So I was hoping to have had this finished to be able to send off to Sally Jane, who's Pink Hair Girl, the Pink Hair Girl Knits podcast, for the knit along that she's doing to organise charity projects that her daughter Rachel Swims on Ravelry is doing for the Burns unit of the South African Children's Hospital. But unfortunately I didn't get to finish it, but I did send off 2 face washers and a beanie. So this one I will keep for a charity knitting that I'm doing with my work craft group. That's in Knit Picks Dishy, and I've got it in my Tangerine Designs bag. And my third work in progress is my vanilla socks on the Turtle Pearl yarn. And these are going really, really well. This one I haven't worked too much on, but I have done quite a bit more on this other sock. In fact, I've gone past the heel and I'm down into the foot. So this yarn is from Turtle Pearl, and they very generously sent it to me to review. And I will do, as I've said, a full review once I finish the socks. But yes, definitely my, during review this is wonderful sock yarn. It's really, really nice. And it comes in the 2 separate skeins, so 2 half skeins. So this is it here. It's the Gothic Plum colourway. And yes, I'm really enjoying this project. Now, because I like to knit concurrently, usually I would have already done the heel on the other one to make them a bit more even. But because of my, aforementioned busy time this week, I didn't have time, and I don't like to do heels out and about just in case, because on my commute, it's stopping and starting, and I prefer to do a heel where I can sit and do the whole thing without having to stop, just in case. With the Fish Lips Kiss heel, I have done it enough times now that I can do it without referencing the pattern. But yeah, I just like to have that focus, just for my own personal taste of doing knitting. So hopefully this weekend I will get the heel on so that they'll be ready to go. But as you can see, I'm doing the Vanilla Bean Stripy Sock pattern by Emily O'Grady, who's Ooh Fancy Pants. So that involves slipping every second stitch whenever there's a colour change. So I've done that. Oh, sorry, I just give a bit more yarn there. I've done that on the silver part, and I really love this silver grey colour. It really is like a non-metallic silver colour. It's great. And then the charcoal here and the plum just all go so perfectly together. I did the heel with the other end of the ball to maintain the stripes on the front. Now you can see here, it goes out wider, because as part of my trying to find my perfect sock recipe for me, I've done on these 60 stitches here, and I think I meant to increase for the heel, but then I forgot and did the heel. So this heel is also 60. Then I increased to 64, and then I thought, oh, I might want to go a couple more, and I meant to go to 66, but in my tired state went up to 68. for the foot, so it's definitely a lot wider. So my thinking behind increasing for the foot was my foot is a little bit wide and flat, so I'm just trying to make a fabric that will be, you know, cushy enough that it's not going to stretch out, so I feel all the stitches and get that horrible, you know, rough feeling that you can sometimes get in socks if it's not maintaining its structure. So we'll see. They might be way too big, too wide, and if they are, I might give them to Mum. I usually do a 66 stitch for her foot, so they'd probably work. But I'm not sure that the 60 stitch on the leg would work for her, because as well with the slip stitches here, it makes it even more constricted. So it's very, you know, fitted on my ankle, but I've got quite slender ankles and wrists. I sort of, you know, get thinner and then it widens. It's naturally for everyone. I don't mean to imply I'm unusual, but I do have quite small wrists and small ankles in comparison to, say, my feet size or whatever. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Loving the yarn. These have been coming with me on my commute. And then once I've got the heel done on this sock, they'll take their turn as well. These are the two bags the two socks are in from Villains on Etsy. Yarn bath and sheep jumping, or sheep hopping, I beg your pardon. So loving those. And I believe that's all my works in progress. I really, really want to cast on another shawl now that I've got the knit night finished. I was tempted to go straight into knitting one for me in the same yarn, but I thought, no, I'll mix it up a bit. And I believe my next choice is going to be the pattern that the lovely Meg, who's Atelier Meg of Atelier Yarns, sent me, one of her patterns, the big blue, and also using some of her yarn that I bought, or rather that Mum bought for me very kindly, in the sidewall colourway. So I think that's going to be my next cast on, so you'll see that next time. And I'm also planning another cast on of socks, which is another personal buddy cal I'm doing with Jana. She realised we both have some of the same yarn from Knit Picks, and we're going to do the monkey socks, or I'm going to do the no pearl monkeys. I'm not sure if she's going to do pearls or no pearls. It's in the peacock peacock colourway in the glitter stellina stroll base. So I'll be casting those on tomorrow, and hopefully I'll get a few more things done in my next couple of weeks of knitting. We'll see. Okay, I've got a couple of things to discuss in acquisitions. First of all, the reason I'm back in this room, which is my stepson's bedroom, is that, well, he's not here at the moment, so I'm using the room. It's one of the few rooms that's sort of towards the back of the house where no one else can hear, because Sophie and Damien are still in bed, because it's about 7:30 in the morning on Saturday. The reason I'm up so early is you know, my body clock is just waking me up early as it is for work, you know, just the same pattern for work. But this morning, or rather this morning my time, Prairie Girl Danny of the Prairie Girl Knit and Spin podcast, she had an Etsy release. She was carrying yarn for the first time in her store, One Twisted Tree, and I'd worked out the time zone, and it was going to be 6 a.m. my time Saturday morning. And I thought, well, I'll just see how I go. I'm not going to set an alarm, but I'll just wait and see. And at 5:59, I woke up and rolled over and looked at my clock, and the first thing that came into my mind was yarn. I thought, well, I've woken up. It's meant to be. I'll at least go and have a look, you know. And yeah, 4 skeins might have gotten into my cart. So thanks, Mum, because Mum said she'd buy me some, because Mum is such a big fan of Danny's bags, because way back when Danny first started One Twisted Tree, I got Mum a little notions pouch with this embroidered sheep on it, and Mum loves it. And she's also very excited because I tell her that now Daddy's bags are hot property and very hard to get. I've never been able to catch another one in an update. So Mum is very special and lucky because she has one, and Mum really likes that. So because of that, I really wanted to try Danny's yarns, and I know that she's been doing a bit of dyeing and knitting up for projects of her own, and for Susie, who's Pro Girl Susie, her co-host. And so I was very keen to try some, and Mum said that, yes, she'd give me a little treat. So those will be coming shortly. But that, yes, explains why I'm in my stepson's bedroom, why I'm a little tired. I hope I'm being coherent. And let's get on with what I was actually going to show you that I have right now. So, from Berry Colourful Yarning, who very kindly offered us a gift code a few weeks ago now. So I know a few people took advantage, so that's very exciting. Excuse me while I get this out of the bag. Berry Colourful Yarning, and she's on Etsy. She was very kind to send me some yarns as a present and as one to review as well, which is one of her new bases that I'll show you in a moment. So this first one, isn't that gorgeous? That's pretty true to colour. It's a little bit light. It's more sort of an overall charcoal. But this is on her fingering superwash 100% merino in the colourway Darkened. Gorgeous, gorgeous grey. And then this is the one that's her new base that she would like me to review. Isn't that stunning? That's coming up a little bit brighter than it is, but it's, you know, just as beautiful. This one is 60% merino, 20% silk and 20% yak. I believe this is my first yak yarn that I've received. And I'm not sure of the colourway name of that one, so I will have to speak to her and ask. But yes, lovely, lovely, lovely. It's very soft. So I'm very excited to try this one. Thinking this might be, I've gone blank, Pebble Beach Shawlette that is designed by Helen Stewart of the Curious Handmade podcast. And it was very sweetly gifted to me by Kim, who is in between dreams of the Stitch by Stitch video cast. So I think, yeah, I've got a bit of a shawl cue happening in my mind now because I'm going to do the big blue first, and then I think this is going to be my Pebble Beach Shawlette. So very exciting. And yes, got the new brooches, so that's good. And I believe that's all we have for acquisitions. So wonderfully, all the prizes have been claimed from the last giveaways that we had a fortnight ago. So congratulations again, everyone, and thank you everyone for entering and participating in the podcast and the knit along that we had. It was awesome. We have a current giveaway going, which will be drawn at the end of March, the next time I record, from Turtle Pearl Yarns. So it's striped turtle toes. This is also the Gothic Plum colourway, which is the one that I am knitting with currently. So this could be yours to enter. Go to the Ravelry thread. We've already had quite a few entries, and so there's still plenty of time if you haven't got there yet. And very kindly, Turtle Pearl have given us a discount code between March 15th and April 11th. If you use the code YarnderWoman, you can get 15% off all your purchases. So if you want to wait and see if you win this one, cool, but there are so many other beautiful colourways, and I know some people have been mentioning they wanted to get some of her, especially one called Trench Coat, I believe. So yes, if you would like to go and buy some, consider yourself enabled, 15% off with the code YarnderWoman, so get into it. I have some exciting knit along news. So we just finished our first knit along at the end of February, which was wonderful and very exciting. But I'm going to have another one from April and May, so another 2 months. Well, I say another 2 months. The Lahore one was 6 weeks. This one's going to be the full 2 months of April and May. And it's going to be a pop culture theme. So very excited by this. So the concept will be you can knit any pattern using any yarn, but one part of your project has to be something to do with pop culture. So be that the pattern name or the pattern inspiration or the colourway name of the yarn, anything like that. So, for example, just off the top of my head, you know, there's the Hogwarts Express shawl, which has the owls on it. Hogwarts, Harry Potter, that's cool. Any, you know, there's all these Doctor Who yarns out there that works. No Makers, hello. Onto that, we're going to have a prize from No Maker. She is going to give us one of her very special and highly coveted mini skein sets. I won't say what the colourway is yet because she hasn't sent me the photo, so I don't want to reveal it, but you'll be very excited because it's a very hard to get colourway, a very limited one that she does. But yeah, any No Makers colourways would definitely fit because all her colourways are pretty much named. I'd say, you know, 98% are named after pop culture references, which is why one of the reasons I love her work, as well as just their awesome colours. And yes, so that's the knit along. I'm really excited. You can enter as many things as you like. You can enter things you've already started. You don't have to wait to cast on in April if you've already got something going, because there's nothing worse than already knitting on a project, going, oh, that would have fit perfectly, but I've already started. So no, whips are fine. But you have to finish your project within the time period. You have to finish your project by the end of May when the thread will close for the finished objects thread. So you can start any time, but you have to finish during the process. The way it will work is you can have one entry per item, or two if it fits in both pattern and yarn. So for example, if you knit, using my previous examples, the Hogwarts shawl or shawlette, don't know, Hogwarts Express. I've only had half a cup of coffee and yeah, I need more. The excitement of the yarn purchase, the early morning, the busy week. Sorry guys. Let's try that again. For example, the Hogwarts Express shawl, if you knit that pattern and then used the Hermione yarn from No Makers, for example, I'm not saying this is a strict one you have to do, but therefore both your pattern and your yarn have a pop culture reference, therefore you can get 2 entries for that one item. So I think the way we'll do it in the FO thread is, you post 2 pictures, so 2 separate posts, can be the same picture twice or 2 different pictures, however you want to do it. And that way you'll have 2 entries counted. If you only use the pattern that's pop culture related, or you only use a yarn that's pop culture related, then of course that's just the 1 entry. So hopefully that's clear. If anyone's got any questions, do let me know. I'll be opening the threads at the beginning of April. So you can start now or continue, as I said, if you want to, but then the FO threads will be open from April going into through May. So I hope everyone's excited by that, and I hope it's inclusive enough. I know not everyone is wholly interested in pop culture as one of your overbearing obsessions like this to me, but hopefully, there's enough patterns or yarns you may already have or you're interested in regardless. So I want it to be really inclusive and open, but I do still want to have a slight caveat that we have to be, at least kind of specific. So I believe there's a type of sock yarn called trekking. I've not used it, but I think it's a bit too much of a stretch to say I'm using trekking yarn and that's like Star Trek, unless the colourway is a Star Trek name, which I don't think they have. It's nothing to do with it. So yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch. So just, consider what you're using and try and make it, it has to be a definite link. But have fun with it. I think it's going to be really exciting. I haven't worked out what I'm going to do yet. Obviously, well, if I knit the big blue shawl and I use the Cylon yarn from Atelier Yarns, Cylon is of course a Battlestar Galactica reference, so that will definitely fit. So I'm sorting myself out. Look at me go. But yes, if you've got any questions, either PM me or in the episode thread for this one on Ravelry, and we can discuss it. And with that, I will sign off for now, but I do have some more videos to show you that I will attach here. Last weekend I went to Mum's house and got her to give us a tour of her garden. I know she's done one earlier. I'm not even sure which episode it was. I think it was in single digits, but it's another tour with some different information from Mum and also different seasons. So I hope you enjoy it. I thought we could do them at different times of the year. You can see different plants in bloom. And Mum is just so cute, as you all know. I'm actually going there later today for lunch, but as I said, we've got weird, windy, south of cyclone weather, so I'm glad we did the filming last weekend when it was beautiful and sunny, so I hope you enjoy that. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. Come and say hello in the Ravelry thread. Enjoy your knitting. Have a wonderful time with whatever you're doing and whomever you're doing it with. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.
Hello everyone and welcome to my garden. My garden's name is Coolinden, which is an Indigenous name meaning place of absolute happiness, and that's what I get when I work in my garden. And here we have a big collection of all sorts of things, including this wonderful bird bath here, which came from my mother, and it's very, very old. And the bird is a kookaburra, which is an Australian native bird. Yep, I'm going to be very cheeky now, and I'm going to tell you that this is the back side of the kookaburra bird bath. Now I'll be sensible. Here we have all sorts of beautiful Australian plants, including lots and lots of roses. And These birds are metal and they represent the Australian brolgas. Brolgas do this wonderful courtship dance when they're luring their respective ladies. And these add just a lovely touch to the garden. And down here, no garden is complete without some gnomes. So these gnomes are very, very old. They came from my mother's house. Right, now no garden is complete without some food crops. So here we have a lovely orange tree and a kumquat tree. Kumquats are unusual, but they have lovely little round berries which are really delicious. And down here you might be able to see I've made a little pathway with all different rocks. Down here, right on the ground, are a collection of rocks that I have picked up every time I go to my cousin's historical farm in a place called Tujay, which is about 100 miles east of Perth. I go and help do all sorts of farm things, and I pretend I'm a farmer's wife. But as I walk through the paddocks, in the past, I'd go and pick up all these wonderful shaped rocks. Here's one here. And they have all different colours and shapes. And I thought, right, they can go in my garden, and then that brings all the love from the farm into my garden.
And the history as well, because you're interested in West Australian history, aren't you?
Yeah. Maybe. Several years ago, one day when I came home from the farm, I knew that I had to do something to help preserve all the history of the place and all the artefacts. So I approached the Heritage Council in Perth, and after a very long time, they finally agreed to give a grant, a sizable grant, to the owner of the farm, and we were able to restore the old buildings, including the stables, which were virtually falling down. So we saved them just in time. And I was absolutely delighted to walk down the aisle of the stables and greet my lovely husband where we got married.
Lovely. And how old would the stable building be?
150 years old.
And it was the first in the area of established buildings after white settlement, wasn't it?
That's right.
So it's a very old area for the Indigenous population, but Mum's ancestors were the first white settlers after colonisation.
It's rather a coincidence now when I look back that Mary Morgan, the wife of Abraham Morgan, they were the first settlers to come to WA, and they took up virgin land at Bardeen, and sadly Mary lost her husband, so I have a great affinity with her. If I shout, it means I've been bitten by a bee. Here I am standing in this wonderful row of a plant called plumbago. It originated from South Africa, and when the first white settlers came to WA, they came via South Africa, and they brought with them a lot of plants that are endemic to South Africa. And this beautiful plant, it's a pale blue, and you can see the length of it. I picked a few pieces from my mother's house and brought them here and cultivated them, and they've just gone crazy. But it's absolutely beautiful. It's lovely, soft, pale blue. and I love it.
Okay.
Hello, I'd just like to introduce you to my hanging gardens of Coolinden. They're absolutely beautiful. You can see I've got these lovely creepers winding up and down till they get to this lovely rabbit, and they just make this beautiful statement as you come through, because on the other side of me is my front door. So people coming through walk through this lovely walkway and then come into my house.
And we've got beautiful ferns, and there's the rabbit.
Now I'm standing under this beautiful archway of wisteria. Wisteria flowers in the winter time and in the early spring, and I have this absolutely beautiful carpet of mauve flowers that are over the top and then all over the ground. Very, very special.
So when we come to winter and spring, we'll be sure to do another garden tour then. And you can see the gorgeous plumbago in the background to Mum's left there. That's where we were earlier. So yes, when you come to visit Mum's house, you get quite the welcome for the beautiful garden. And of course a wonderful welcome from Mum.
And a nice afternoon tea.
Indeed.
So when you come for afternoon tea, I would love you to come in and we can sit at this lovely outdoor table, and I will give you lots of scones and jam and cream, and we can sit here and just enjoy the beauty of the garden and the beautiful birds. I'm not sure, you probably heard one just flying over then, who come into my garden and enjoy it.
And of course, everyone bring your knitting.
We're now a week or so into autumn, and all the deciduous plants are starting to turn colour. You can see on this one here all the beautiful colours that are coming through, and this gorgeous red that the sun's behind it, so it really highlights the beauty of the red.
And we all know who likes red.
As we've had a very, very hot, long hot summer, I've kept some plants in a sheltered position, and they've managed to survive. So what's going to happen now is we're coming into autumn, and the days get shorter and the temperature gets lower, so I can quite easily plant these out where I had intended to, and just brighten the colours like this beautiful. These are called vincas. I don't know if you get vincas in America, but they're very hardy and they have beautiful colours.
3.
Goodbye.